The monkey suit is one of those episodes of The Simpsons where I don't know how I feel about it. This is the 21st episode of the 17th season, directed by Raymond S. Persi and David Silverman, and it starts off with a trip to a museum. Love those scenes, something I've probably mentioned a lot. I love seeing museums and animation. I love seeing how they animate the exhibits, mainly because I love being in museums. So that aspect, loved it. But Flanders is kind of furious that there's an exhibit on evolution with no real mention of the Bible, and he and Reverend Lovejoy force Principal Skinner to force the classes to teach creationism, and Lisa argues that that's not right, that schools can't teach creationism and evolution because they're opposing ideas, and how can you teach opposing ideas when at school you're meant to learn the truth? Whereas that's not actually true. At school you're meant to learn ideas and you're meant to form your own opinions, but we'll let that go. And people agree they should only teach one, so they decide to teach creationism, and Lisa campaigns against this. And I won't say exactly what happens with it, but I think the reason I didn't love it is because I'm kind of against Lisa's opinion here. And that's not that I'm saying schools shouldn't teach evolution, but as I said, schools should teach about everything, about all of the ideas in the world, at least as much as they can within the time frame. And schools should teach about evolution, but they should also teach creationism. They should also teach about other religions, not just Christianity. And many, many schools do. That's why schools have religious studies. But Lisa's saying, no, you shouldn't teach all of the ideas. You should just decide what's true and teach that. And that's wrong. And I'm surprised that Lisa had such a closed mind approach. Yes, she was saying we should teach evolution because it's science, but she's saying science is always right, and that's not true. It reminds me of one of my favourite monologues from Phoebe in Friends, where she's saying all of these things that scientists used to believe and got wrong. Things like, the earth is flat, things that people used to believe until technology could prove otherwise. I'm not saying evolution will ever be disproved, absolutely not saying that, but I'm really surprised that Lisa was so closed-minded that she was going, evolution's true, we shouldn't teach creationism because it's not scientifically proven, you're not allowed to think these things, you just have to say what the scientists currently say are correct. And I feel like that's not Lisa's personality. Now, I'm not saying I have to agree with the characters to like an episode, but I was just so not annoyed, but just confused by Lisa's closed-minded, negative and incorrect approach about what education should be about, that I didn't believe her argument, I didn't believe her campaigning, and therefore I struggled to get behind anything she was doing, because schools aren't about teaching the one truth, they're about teaching the various possible truths and providing children with the ability to analyse and interpret in their own ways and come to their own conclusions. Obviously, there are religious schools that teach religion as fact. That's absolutely fine. If you send your child to one of those schools, that's what you expect. But generally, schools will teach all kinds of things and let the children come to a conclusion. And Lisa's argument is that, no, you can only choose one, so pick which one you think is correct and teach that one. And it's closed-minded and it's just incorrect, and I just think it's not Lisa. It's wrong for Lisa to think that. In fact, I feel like, if anything, it would have made more sense for Flanders to have that argument, because he is kind of one-track-minded, whereas Lisa believes in the value of education and nurturing young minds and letting them be their own person rather than almost indoctrinating them. So yeah, it wasn't a great episode because Lisa's character was not true to her personality and she just got it wrong. She got education completely wrong, and that's not what Lisa's about. I will say, I don't feel like the episode was ever saying one is right. I don't think the episode was ever saying that you have to believe creationism or that you have to believe evolution. And I also don't think that they believe schools should only teach one thing. But at the same time, it was just not a very believable episode. I don't believe Lisa's actions. I think Lisa understands the value of a varied education. So it's almost like the writers didn't know the character they were writing. I have to say, it's not the best.